Hello, I think we are live. Welcome to this random live stream. Actually, the first live stream on the newly branded channel that this is. Let's see who we've got in. Hello, the Dave. Great work and effort. Well, I haven't seen it yet. Much appreciated. Many thanks for the enormous effort this must have taken from idea to creation. It's been a long road. Can't lie. I'm just going to check my mic is working, actually. Could be talking and you can't hear me. No, that's working. Yeah, thanks. It's, well, I touched on it in the video you probably saw earlier. It's not letting me remove comments and add other ones now. Why is that not working? It did this to me the other night. StreamYard doing weird stuff. Yep, it's not letting me highlight different comments. We're stuck with the Dave's comment. Welcome if you just joined. Oh, there we go. I can see people arriving now, 24. Hi, Dave. Now, I chatted with Dave at length when we first talked about doing this. And Dave was talking about helping to develop it and stuff. You may have got off lightly because, boy, has this been a difficult task. You may be glad that you didn't get involved. But good to see you, Dave. Laurel is in, and Phil, welcome. Andrea, Callum. We can do some questions, but I'm going to give it a while before I start sharing the app to let people join, so I can touch on a few questions. Will pawn shops like cash converters be included? To start with, no. We've very much had to restrict what we were doing because we've already done too much, and we should have launched it when it was this big and then added on layers and things. So no is the short answer. As far as shops go, it's going to be charity shops. But there is scope to expand that to antique shops, antique centres, anywhere that's doing secondhand goods. We think longer term will be eligible, but we've had to restrict it just to be able to get to an endpoint and launch, right? Thank you, Laurel. Belinda Laney. Hi, Laney. Laney has seen some versions of the app and been very helpful with seeing what works and what doesn't. Looking forward to the app to help me find places now we live on the narrow boat. Of course, I forget you've done that. Yeah, it'll be ideal because the app will know where you are because all our smartphones have GPS. And whenever you open it up, it will show you your locations. I'll be able to show you that running soon. I knew it would take months. Yeah, well, we underestimated, Dave, how many months. But I explained all this earlier. The fact that essentially it's two of us working on this. In our spare time, if you want to call it spare time, all that spare time I have. Yeah, and somebody said on the comments of that video I put out earlier, feature creep, I think was the term. We definitely suffered from throwing everything at it, thinking all ideas were good ideas and we will implement all of them. So our list of things to do kind of just kept growing. And then we'd think of something else and think of something else and throw it all in. And then we got to a point where we started chucking things out to get it done and to streamline it and make it simpler to navigate and use. And yeah, my role in this has been to take things out for quite a while and streamline it and make it easier to use and less complicated. Yeah. Hi, Chris and Claire. Just going to give it a minute to let people come in. We've got 60 people. I won't explain what we're doing because I assume you all know why you are here. Good evening. What's that? Vid Fletch. Oh, it's Harris. Oh, it stopped highlighting. No, there we go. There we go. It's working. Hi, Richard. Will Northern Ireland be on Thrift Map? Great question. It's not letting me highlight comments. There's like a really long delay. Has it come up? No. So Fruit Machine Archive said, will Northern Ireland be on Thrift Map? Yes, it will. And we've gone to great lengths to pin all of Northern Ireland's charity shops on it. Well, I say all. As many as we could find. So yes, absolutely. No, it's not letting me highlight other comments now. Technology, welcome to my world. Up there, but there we go. I'm trying to highlight the next one now. Wow, there's either some epic lag on here or StreamYard is a bit broken. The app sounds great. Can't wait till you launch it. Says Gwaz. Thank you. Right. I think we're down there. Michelle Tuck. I don't know if we've met quite a few garage sale trail organisers, because we go to a lot and we do talk to people and try and find organisers. I don't know if we've met you. I am looking forward to the release of the app. So I organise a garage sale trail in my town, Bedford. We've probably been to yours. I don't know if you have been in touch with Andrea. I know Andrea spoke to somebody about one up that way recently. But yeah, if you are already an organizer of an event, I can show you what we've created and how simple we've tried to make it to create an event within the app. We've been reducing the amount of clicks to get an active event on the map that everybody else who has the app can see and find and add themselves to. It's been a heck of a challenge, but we've solved that. Right, let's just get to the end and I'll show you it working. Oh, the comments are working now. Hi, Ian J. Let me go back and highlight a few that I missed. Great idea and the humongous work to get it going. Yeah, we didn't really appreciate how big a job it was until we got really far into it. And then it was like, oh, wow, yeah, this is complicated. And I think even when we launch, it will still be very much a work in progress. And it will be, you know, you guys finding out, if I do this and then this and then this, that breaks it, that sort of thing, right? We've had a lot of that and we have ironed out so many bugs, but expect more. Oh, it's not letting me highlight comments again. God dear. So this tech is now not where, there it is. Sounds great. Never see yard sale trails around here. Now that was the kind of statement that kind of inspired us to really push this idea, because I'll show you how easy it is to create an event in a sec. So if you're in an area and you want these to exist, this will make that process that much easier. Of course, you will still have to promote it, set up a Facebook group, let people in the local area know. The app will promote it to a degree, but you'll still have to do a bit of local legwork, right? But the practical side of pinning pins on a map and getting all that information to your prospective buyers on the day, super simple. Right, I'm going to scroll down to the end. Oh, that's a lovely comment. I think this app is going to be a great gift to all that resell. I really hope so. Honestly, if this never earns our investment back and it just gets used and is helpful, I will see that as a success. That's the goal with this, is to create something that's helpful and encourages the buying and selling of secondhand goods. Simple as that. Obviously, I'd love it to pay its way. That would be nice. Okay, so we've got a bunch of you and we've got 68 in. That's cool. Oh, let me just read that. Nick, unfortunately, don't think you've been to ours before. Okay. Yes, I messaged Andrea. I met you and Andrea at a few. Milton Keynes, Sandy. Oh, okay. Hopefully you can make our last one 11th September before you move. Possibly. We're not, well, we are thinking of going to one on Monday. We're trying to restrict how much we buy because we've got to take it all with us. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we're doing. So, okay, if you saw the video earlier, you'll know the basics. But let me show you. So this is the home screen. And we've broken it down into the three main things. And it's all, to make it easier to navigate, we've divided it into colors. So everything to do with events is green. Everything to do with charities is yellow. Boot sales is all orange. And that's the home screen. You can get back to the home screen from anywhere in the app by pressing the home icon. So if you get lost within the app, which you shouldn't, you can always come back here and start again. A point of note, actually, this front screen isn't currently responsive. Those should be centered. You see that the lettering's not centered. Phones are all different shapes and sizes, and you have to make all the screens responsive to the different. This one needs tweaking, clearly. So from there, you can see you can find an event, or you can create an event, find a charity shop, add a shop, find a boot sale, add a boot sale. If we actually, the middle button is the world. You press that and it will open up the main map, and it will open it where you are. We all have GPS, as I was saying. It's just loading all the pins. So that's currently opened on Hitchin. I prefer the satellite view, and you can see it has pins. So this is going to be hard for me to do and show. If I zoom in, we'll zoom in on me. I'm the blue dot. These are actually test pins. There isn't a boot sale that near my house. That's a test pin, which shouldn't be there when we launch. So if I zoom out a bit, you can show the scale. This is hilarious, because if you zoom out so you can see the whole of the UK, the pins don't shrink. Oh, I could use the zoom out button, couldn't I? That would be easier, Nick. You're not going to use that view very often. But you can see this is, so these are interactive pins. So they all represent a charity shop. You can see the same color coding at the top. So if you want to switch off charities and just leave boot sales, you can. Likewise, you can just leave events, but because there are no pending events, you just get a blank map. So if we put charities back on and we pick a random pin, see, normally you would be right zoomed in where you are and looking around your local area. Apparently there's one wherever that is. And this is all searchable, by the way. So if you want to just open the map and search, say you're away for the weekend in Essex somewhere, you're going down to where George is and you're in Chelmsford, you could just type Chelmsford, it would open at Chelmsford and you can have a look. But it will know, if you're already there, it will know where you are anyway. Anyway, all of the pins are interactive. So that one is a charity shop called Headway. And it opens a little box if you just want to have a quick look at it and see if you found the right pin, if you've got lots of pins in a similar area. But you click on the more info box and then you get your charity shop card with all of the relevant information. So what we want ideally is for there to be a phone number and opening times for charity shops, and to keep those accurate. There's not much more information on the charity shops, a little bit. And you can edit this information from here, which is all moderated, obviously. And you can report that it does not exist, and it will be removed from the map. Don't worry, you can't, somebody couldn't go in and just start deleting all the pins. There are restrictions to these things, and there's a certain amount of moderation. So don't worry, it's been thought about. Let's quickly dip in the chat. I might have generated lots of questions already. Let's have a look. Chris is doing a yard sale tomorrow with another on Monday. Yeah, I think our plan is there is one on tomorrow, but I think we're going to just do the Monday one at the moment. I don't think it matters when it comes out. It's better to iron out all the bugs before you launch. Yes, but I think there's a compromise in between the idea of making it perfect and actually launching it, because getting it absolutely right feels like an impossible task. I need to blow my nose. But yeah, I would love it to launch with no bugs. And the little bit of functionality I've just shown you, it's taken us this long to make all of that work and work intuitively and make sense to not only me, the people I've shown it to. Yeah, it's a big task, but yeah, I appreciate what you're saying. Have you heard of the app Thrift Go? It seems to allow you to locate thrift stores globally, mainly for clothes, it seems. I don't think that's one I've looked at, but I will have a look at that. That sounds interesting. Thrift Go. I think I mentioned in that video I put out earlier that we have trademarked Thrift Map, and that's an interesting world, trademarking. It's very complex. Yeah, that was an education in itself. And when you trademark something, there's a period of time when people are allowed to object, and if they do, it can get complicated. Luckily, there are many things that are similar and within the sphere of business that we are operating in. So we kind of held our breath when we applied because we didn't really want to get into all of that. But yeah, it went through and we owned that within lots of different areas of business. It's complicated, but yeah. No, I've not heard of Thrift Go. I wish we had boot sales in Bedford. There are some around about if you want to travel a little bit. Not too far from Bedford, I believe. Presumably a one-off jumble sale could add their event. Yes and no. It's at the moment we are gearing it towards these yard sale events. We do want to add jumble sales. Yeah, it gets slightly complicated, but yes, probably not when we launch is the answer to that one. Good to see you, Stephen. Oh, well, let's touch on that. So if you are in what we are calling a card view, so you remember I was on the main map, I found the charity shop I was looking for, I opened it, here's all of the detailed info. I could favorite it from here. So if I favorite that, it now says favorited. Then if we go into the other view we haven't touched on yet, which is the main feed, like we all see them in Instagram feeds, we all understand feeds. So that's this. And because most of the pins are charities, that's what's there. This will, when we launch, be always nearest first, unless you filter it in different ways. There will be other filters, and this is all searchable. At the top here, if you make it favorites, there's the one we just favorited, and you would have a scrollable feed. So at a glance, you can find your favorites. From here, you can click the little map pin, go to the map and find it on the map. This is handy because we were thinking of scenarios. Sometimes you're at a boot sale or you meet someone and they say, have you ever been to such and such boot sale? It's fantastic. And then you could whip out your app and they say, well, where is it? And they could show you, and then you could click on the pin, favorite it, and then it's there. The other thing it has is the middle one, as I showed you, is the map that everybody sees with all of the pins on. The next one is my pins. So you've got your own map within it and you can move pins across to there. So it's like another way of storing your favorites visually on the map. Mine doesn't have anything in. And as with the other one, you can switch them on or off. Oh, it's hard to do it back to front. So favorites, yeah, we put a lot of work into having a favorites list view. So you can, at the moment, if I just have charities, you can see you can scroll and search. So you could search for Bernardo's, you could search by the town or whatever. When you find the one you're looking for, you go, okay, bing. And then if this works, there should be now 2 in favorites. Oh, I've gone to events. There we go. So you will build your list and you can have events, boot sales, and shops. You can have a mix of whatever you want, whatever you need to gain access to quickly or easily can be there. Yeah, good question. What software have you used to develop this app? I am not the coding guy. It feels like we've used every bit of software in the world. Yeah, you're speaking to the wrong person. In the future, we may get my business partner on to talk more tech if you want to talk tech. I'm not the person. This is how I want it to work. This is the functionality, and this is how it needs to work. And then the people with the big brains and the intelligence to code stuff have been doing that part of it. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions I can answer. If you do have questions, pop them in. I did have a kind of idea of how I was going to show you it one by one. I can't remember what I've really shown you so far now. We were talking about navigation before, registering your private cell from your garden, then linking to make a thrift map to SatNav. Right. Well, we have good one. The dream was with this, when you go to an event that's got lots of stalls, it's sometimes really, and you don't know the area, navigating around is a problem. So the dream was to turn up to an event, say, I'm at this stall, find me the best way of navigating around all of them for me, please, Mr. App, and it will then guide you around. We haven't quite managed, for many different reasons, we haven't quite managed to do that. But what we have got, so if I go to one of my favorites now on the map, what we have done is implement, so it's opened it, it happens to be on the south coast. So we'll open that pin. We have a take me there button. And you click that and it generates you a route within the app. Actually, it jumps you out into your route finder and it takes you there. When you get there, you click back and it takes you straight back to the app. That's the compromise. I think we're going to keep working on multi-location route planning, but it was causing so much. So that's going to take me all the way from where I am in Hitchin to the south coast now. And then when I'm there, I just come out of this and it will open the app again. So that's where we're at with that. And that might sound relatively simple. Believe me, we found that really hard, Dave. You're probably sitting there thinking, oh, I could do that. I could do that. And it's just dropping me back into the app. I'm trying to highlight Ken's comment and it's not working. Let me read it. Ken says, Nick, has there been a problem with yard sales being known under different names in different places? There we go. E.g. Jumble Trail, Walking Market, Garage Sale Trail, Safari. Right, good question. I tend to call them yard sale events because it's kind of a coverall, but it doesn't matter. So if you want to use the app, press the wrong button, home, to create your event, you would come in, you would see this screen the same as everybody else, and you would click create event. And at the top there, event name. So you would call it, if you want to go with Jumble Trail, you would call it the Hitchin Jumble Trail or the Manchester Walking Market or whatever. It really doesn't matter. They will all be pinned the same on the map. They will all be green pins as events. So yeah, we're not telling you what you need to call it. They don't have to all be jumble trails or whatever. You decide the event name. So while we're in here, this has changed so many times, you wouldn't believe it. This is the create an event page. You decide the name. You have a start date and end date. Usually they will be the same. They're usually one-day events, but we have been to some that go over a weekend. So we have that flexibility. Start time, end time. So these bring up little time clocks. So you whiz. Where am I? Okay. And then pin the center of the event. So if I open that, it will take me to the map and it will take me to where I currently am. If I'm happy with that, maybe I'm doing a small event for this little estate here. And I'll just go, yeah, my house. Let's call that the center. And you would save that. You can flip the view to satellite. So I could have the center of the event as my house. Doesn't really matter, but you kind of want a rough location. Or I could drag it up there to the center of town and pin it up there. So you save that. So that's where the pin's going to show on the map. And then you can put an event description in. And then once you click create, that is an event created. And then a pin appears on the map. And you can, in your promotion, say, download Thrift Map. It's completely free. Find the pin in Hitchin. It's likely to be the only one, right? They click on it. And when it opens up the details of the event, there is an add my stall. And then they go through a similar page where they have to pin their stall as accurately as they can on their house. And that's it. The time of the event, the date of the event is already shown, so they have to adhere to that if they're joining your event. And that's it. The beauty of that is that they can then manage their stalls. So if it turns out they're going away on that weekend and they can't join in, they remove their pin. They can go in and delete themselves from the event. The trouble we find when we go to events is the organizer has all of the pins, but they're not in direct contact with anybody, and they don't set up because they're away or they're ill or whatever, and their pin stays active. And we drive around like idiots trying to find a house that isn't actually having a sale. So we hope that this will reduce the amount of pins that are active without actual stalls. The other thing we've implemented is that if you do drive around and you find my house and I say I'm having a stall and I'm clearly not, you can hit a button that says this stall is not set up. Once 3 people do that, it's removed from the event. That's the compromise we've got there. Yeah, so that's setting up events. What's stall saying there? Can't imagine a boot sale objecting to free advertising. Somebody brought up what they thought would be a problem, that we are putting boot sales on the app. Pretty much every boot sale already have either a web page or a Facebook page. So they are promoting themselves publicly. It's not private information. So I can't see there being an issue. But should we be approached by a boot sale that says, we don't want to be on your app and people finding us and coming to our boot sale, we take it off. So who was saying that? What was the question? Oh, there we go. Yes. The simple answer to that is yes. I can't understand why they wouldn't want completely free promotion. But if they object to us promoting them, I will remove them and we will send people to their rival boot sales. You know what I mean? It's not an issue. The comments aren't coming up again. Why is this broken? I'll just wait a second whilst Richard's comment comes up. It says, been wanting to travel further afield to boot sales to have a map of exactly where they are is a useful feature if traveling to a distance. I tell you what is useful. Boot sales don't tend to have an address. They're a field around the back of a farm or something. Okay. What's the beauty of this is we pin them super accurately, like at the entrance gate from a random country lane or whatever, and the app takes you directly to the pin. So that should be helpful for finding obscure boot sale locations, certainly. Another thing, when we were gathering all the data for charity shops, I found charity shops local to me in Stevenage, for example. I've lived around here my whole life, and I found charity shops I didn't know exist, good ones as well. So that's been an eye-opener. What we got? So if you find a charity shop, can someone just add it to the app? Absolutely. So go back to the homepage. There's charities. Find would open the map with all the charity pins showing. Add. So if you click add, shop name. See, we've already thought ahead to having different shop types. That probably shouldn't be there now, but at the moment it's defaulted to charity. Opening times, phone number. Website we're probably removing because it's not relevant. It's much more relevant for boot sales, because if you want to know if it's on tomorrow, their website or their Facebook page is a good place to go, and we link to those. And then you pin the location. So in reality, when you find a charity shop, you're likely to be stood outside it going, oh, well, this isn't on the app. So when you click pin location of the charity shop, it will open where you are, and you should just go save, because you will be stood outside it. Currently that pin is on my house because that's where I am stood. So yeah, we've streamlined that as much as we can. Also, we know that a lot of this information, you won't necessarily know the phone number if you're stood outside the shop. So that won't be a required field. We do have a little bit of work to do on here. There's going to be a required element of pinned location. We would rather you gave us just that than nothing at all. We appreciate you don't want to stand there for ages adding in all the opening times, for example, but somebody else can add that at a later date, or we can add that from the back end much more easily. We'll Google the shop and go, oh yeah, that exists, that's fine, happy days, and fill in the rest of it. But yeah, that is adding a shop. And for boot sales, it's pretty much the same with a little bit more data. Season. Again, a lot of this you may not know, so you will leave it blank, and perhaps the organizer will find it, or we will then say, somebody's added the boot sale and there's big gaps. We will Google it and find the accurate information, or we will ring them up and ask. And I said about, let's just go back to the home page. If I click find boot sales, we'll open a boot sale pin. Now, very often boot sales have Facebook pages or websites. Let's open a local one to me that I know does. I'm pretty sure they have at least a website. So I found a pin. I've clicked on it. If I click on the more info, we have a clickable link to their website and to their Facebook. So direct from the app, we will be able to instantly, I've got very slow internet, so not very instantly, open their Facebook page. Oh, it's asking me to cookies. Yes, let's use cookies. And there we have their U-Boot Facebook page, where you should, as long as they're updating it, be able to find out if they are on and all that good stuff. But we have a lot of the information, opening times, costs, etc., on the app anyway. Let's have a look. This is a really, really good question, and it's something we've gone backwards and forwards on. Some people do their own yard sale without being part of a community group. Is this an option? We wanted this to be for events, and we didn't want to fill up the app with one bloke deciding to have a yard sale. So we want to push the idea of community events. So we have a lot of coding in there, so we can add parameters, whereas an event doesn't go live until you have at least 5 stalls or 10 stalls or X amount of different users add themselves. Then it becomes a valid event. We're not sure where we're going to pitch that. We could launch and have no parameters. So you could just go, I'm a yard sale event, it's just me. And whether we allow you to make it private so nobody else can come in and click on the event and say, well, I live down the road, I'll add myself to this event. Whether we add that so we can have individuals having yard sales, that's still up for debate. And perhaps it's a kind of suck it and see thing. We launch with very few restrictions, and if that gets out of control, or the feedback is, my feed is full of Bob doing a yard sale every weekend, right? That's not really what we're aiming at here. So then we put in the parameters of what constitutes an event, how many stall holders you need to attract to an event before it appears on the map, etc. We've had many meetings about where we pitch this. It's not a simple question, but it's a very good question. Yard is an American word. I disagree. I have a backyard. What people call their events is a complete irrelevance, really. I am way behind in the chat. Apologies. We touched on this. If people complain they don't want their charity shop location, which is a public piece of information already on the app, I will gladly remove it anyway, but I can't see there being a problem with a business, which is what the charity shop is, or a boot sale, not wanting it on there. When it comes to events, people are adding themselves because they want to be there. So that shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, but it is a valid question. And if it comes up, we will remove fixed locations, certainly. Here's something that Ian says. I've been to a few jumble trails and have lost my car after wandering down various streets. Can the app find my car? It probably won't be there for launch, but we'd had a discussion about this, which is when you get to an event, you can pin your car. Right? So at the end of the event, if you are walking it, yeah, you go, hang on, go back into the map, and there might be a red pin that is where you started or where your car is. Yeah. We are, as you go round, stalls you've attended will be grayed out or flagged so you don't repeat. We've gone back to stalls before. We tend to drive around them, and that's frustrating that the pins on a usual Google map for an event, there's no way of recording which ones you've been to, and you get lost very quick. You forget where you've been. So the app, as you're going around, you'll be able to mark it as visited. We also will have a flag this stall option. So sometimes I've had conversations at stalls where it's like, how much for all of it? And they say, well, I'll come back at the end of the day and I'll do your deal on what's left, that sort of thing. I've also bought bulky stuff and wanted to come back and pick it up, that sort of thing. So you'll be able to flag a stall and write a note. I think that's going to be there for launch. But yeah, if a lot of people say, can we pin our cars? That I like that idea, and it has come up in discussions. This has come up as well about if a community-based event is collecting funds for a scout hut. Yeah, it's an interesting one, because if they put their event on here, Tom, Dick and Harry can add themselves for free. So we will either we'll have to see if this becomes a problem, because then the event might want to go around every stall and say, hello, can I have my £10 for the charity? And they might say, well, no. In which case, if that does become an issue, the thought is that you have a private event. So you find your stall holders outside of the app and you add the pins as they come to you and pay you the money. It is a complicated one. I doubt we will go the route of collecting money for charities through the app. It's going to add so many layers to it. It will be a case of having a private event so that anybody can't find the pin and add themselves. The event organizer adds the pins as they arrange them outside of the app. Very good question. You can see how many elements to this there are when you start thinking. I'm confused. Does that mean that anyone wanting to have a stall must have the app? No. Ideally, yes. Because then they can manage their stall, switch it on or off. But no, the event organizer can add stalls for people. But then the stall holder themselves won't be able to switch it off. They'll have to contact the event organizer and they can take it off. But ideally, yeah, download the app for free, find the event, click add my stall, pin your house, done. And most people, our generation and younger, have smartphones and are using apps. Whether it is too much to ask, we don't know. These are all the things we'll have to discover. Very good question. Is an iOS version coming? Yes, and it is coming after the Android. We are getting a complete functioning launched Android version, and then we're converting from that across, is the way that's working. Don't ask me any more questions about the technical side of that because I don't know and I don't need to know. But sadly, the Apple version, I use Apple and I won't be able to, well, I'll have to use this thing, which I hate, this Android. Yeah, Android first, Apple second. Good evening, Neil. Let's see what other questions. Yeah, I've just answered that. I've never said it wasn't going to come out on Apple. It's always going to be coming out on Apple, but there will be a delay. Don't ask me how long that delay will be. We are going to get a finished product on Android and port it across. Again, I don't know the technical side of that. That's why I have technical people to do that for me. Brian, how are you going to make money from the app? A very, very good question. It's a business. Where's the probability? It's a business. Where's the probability? So with apps, there are three main ways of making money. You can charge people to download it. You can run advertising on it. You can have in-app purchases. We don't think we are ever going to charge to download it. It doesn't make sense for what we are because we will have a lot of very casual users. We will want people who hear about an event, turn up, and someone at a stall says, if you want to know where the rest of the stalls are, just scan this QR code and download that. Bish, bash, bosh, there it is, open it. They're not going to want to pay to just wander around a village for a day. And a lot of our users will be casual, use it for that day, use it for that week, whatever, and then potentially never use it again. And that's totally fine. So if and when we monetize it, well, not if, we will have to, because we've got some money to recoup here. We will take the advertising route and in-app purchases. Whether the in-app purchases are going to be add-ons or features or different layers of information, we're not quite sure. Or whether it's going to be switch off these annoying adverts for £1 for the day. That was the earliest idea we had, that we have adverts that pop up and you watch a little, like YouTube. So you watch a little video ad and then it goes away and you carry on using the app. Or maybe when you go to do a certain function, you have to watch an ad in order to get past that. And for most people, they will just do that. But imagine if you are going to an event for a day and every time or every 10 minutes or so, an ad pops up and you're at an event for a whole day and a little pop-up says, you can get rid of these for £1 for the day. I would do that in a flash. I hate adverts on things. So that's an option, but we are not going to monetize it at the beginning anyway. We're going to focus on making it work, making the data accurate, and getting people on there and finding out how they use it and if it works. We are not being short-sighted about this. It's not a cash grab in any sense of the word, but it will need to make some money to fund itself and to hopefully recoup the investment. Right, I've answered some of these questions already. Yeah, a lot of people asking about Android and Apple. Yes to both. Android first, Apple second is the plan. Yeah, okay. So True Mouse says there, once an app has a user base, you can monetize it at any time in the future. Facebook started with no ads. Yeah, and we are not in a rush to monetize it. If this is going to be a success, it needs people. It needs to be intuitive, helpful to all of us. So that's the focus. That has to be the focus. I don't really care if we don't monetize it for a year, for 2 years. If we can make it work, get people on it, and I want this to become something I use on a daily basis, or at least on a weekly basis, you know, at the weekends, to whatever it is. If I'm in a new town and I want to find charity shops, I will use this app. If I'm on holiday and I want to find a boot sale, I will use this app. If I want to check if boot sale I'm thinking of going to tomorrow is on, I can quickly find it, click on their Facebook link. Hurrah, right? Once we get there, it works, people are happy with it, and it's part of people's lives, then we worry about monetizing it. It's not the priority. A lot of my boot sales move to different fields. Yes, right. I didn't really know this. No, there is one that does that near us, actually. Yeah, and it's an interesting thing. So whether we have 2 pins for the same boot sale with different seasons, or we remove that one and make it pop up here, but then you've got to add in all of the information again and then switch that one off and recreate this one. I know. Why is everything so complicated? Very good question. What have we got here? Nick, as long as you can keep up with the accuracy of the boot sale information and have the vast majority of them listed on there, I am sure it will do very well. Accurate, up-to-date info is the key. 100%. And I think I said in the video that went up earlier, when I've gone looking for data to add boot sales, oh my God, it's the Wild West. There's websites that have data that's like 5-10 years old. Honestly, it's ridiculous. There are places on the internet that have boot sale information, and they've been closed down for decades. It's just, you can also find completely contradicting information here, there, and everywhere. Even boot sales' own websites and Facebook pages contradict each other. It's a nightmare. So finding accurate information and keeping it accurate, you are 100% right. That's what we're aiming to do, really. It's to be a place that people can trust for accurate information, and that needs constant updating. Hence, it's a community thing. And if this is a useful tool for everybody, we will all be happy to, oh, I've noticed something's incorrect, I will update it. And we will obviously be doing a lot of work behind the scenes, contacting event owners, organizers, letting them know about the app, getting them on board so they will update. So when the new season starts and they change their start times or they put the prices up, it will be in their head, oh, I better update Thrift Map, right? And this will all take time and a lot of legwork from us, firing off emails, messaging their Facebook pages and getting them all on board. Yeah. Sorry if I've missed your questions. This chat is jumping about. Can't believe how many different permutations you've had to consider. Some of the meetings we've had, we have gone round and round and round in circles until we've lost what the original problem was. We've got so sucked into what if. There's so many variables. That's the problem. It's not as simple. None of this is as simple as you first imagine, particularly the yard sale events. Yeah. When is it launching for Android? I don't know. We are very close. Well, I've shown you it all working, right? There's a bunch of things we want to change. I touched on a couple earlier. Some of it's minor that we could launch with and just change as and when. A lot of it is to do with managing your event or your stall, which is all done in this kind of profile, my stall, my events button at the end, which is a bit of a mishmash. It's kind of where we've thrown everything, and it's a little bit broken. So we've got work to do there, because it's all very well asking people to use this app to manage an event, but you've got to have some interface then to go in and see the stalls that are being added and have some control over that. So we have put some work into that recently, and effectively we're going to use a map view, the main map view, but it will have different, you'll have different capabilities, because effectively when you're an event organizer, you have certain moderation things that the average user won't over your event. I'm getting into technical stuff you don't need to know. If the app grows exponentially after launch, how will you scale up quickly enough? It has scope to scale up as quickly as we hope it will grow. It already has 8,000 or 9,000 locations in it and has capability to have way more. So we don't think that's an issue. Whether the moderation side of it is hard to keep up with, whether we don't know what we don't know, put it that way. But one thing I've learned about managing something like this is if you try and create something and really focusing on the things that will go wrong, you just won't create it. We have put so much in place for what we think will go wrong. But as I said, we don't know what we don't know. But as for scale and scalability, yes, we have a lot of scope, backend storage, server, etc. So that side of it, we think we've covered. How much did the app cost all in? I'm not sharing that. In-app purchases and ads would be a good idea. I don't agree. I don't agree with having to pay to turn ads off though. So then you just have them whether you like it or not. If you don't agree with turning them off, you don't have to. It's one option, and we honestly don't know how that's going to go. It is not the priority. I said, I don't know if you remember, I said it may be that we don't even monetize it for 6 months to a year. Who knows? This will never work if we don't make it intuitive, easy to use, and have the community behind us. So I don't want to put barriers in the way. True Mouse has kind of answered the question that in the same way I did about scalability. Yeah, scalability is the least of our problems, I believe. Speak to me in 6 months' time, or 6 months after we launch, whenever that is, and I might say something else. Okay. Yeah, charity shop locations. We've done a lot of data collection, as you would imagine. We have how accurate it is by now, because a lot of this work was done last year. Yeah, but you're right. You can scrape that data, and yeah, it's an interesting point actually. When we launch, we are going to hopefully work directly with charities and some of the big chains and get them, let them know that their shops are on here. I mean, it's all public knowledge anyway. I can't see them objecting. They spend millions a year promoting themselves. Why would they not want to be on the free promotion platform? And hopefully they will monitor their own pins on here. And when they open new shops, they will be encouraged to add them as they open. And when they move locations, close shops down, again, hopefully we will find some very helpful people within the charity chains to keep an eye on that for us. That would be lovely, wouldn't it, if they maintain the pins for us? Let's find some more questions. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, this channel now is going to be what we use to have chats like this. I haven't done one of these before now because I didn't really have something where it was all working and all as we hoped it would. It's still not finished, but I was happy to come on here now because this is pretty much what it's going to be when it launches. There will be some slight tweaks and changes, but this is as close to where we're going to be when we launch as needs be for me to show you. But yeah, this channel is going to be a place where I can do live streams like this. Once we launch, it will be a great place for people to come and share issues, ask questions. We're also going to use the Facebook group for that, which I think is linked below this video. Should be. It's linked below the video I'll put on the main channel. So the Facebook group will be probably the best place to get a quick answer or some quick help. Particularly when we launch. If you want to set up an event and you're confused or you don't know how to do something. And then this channel, we will make some tutorials where you screen grab the phone and I'll show you how to set up an event, how to create a charity shop. We have gone to great lengths where it is as intuitive as it can be. Add a shop, shop name, blah, 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 pin the location. And that sounds super simple. I almost laugh at myself saying that now because to design this and get it to that point, oh, that's been difficult. Right, let's see what other questions. How long have I been on? Nearly an hour. Okay. Quite, it's hot in here as well. Reseller Kid, hello again. I think maybe getting car boot regulars and people in the community who attend various boot sales so they can add boot sales and update info. In addition to this, mods who can pin the charity shops. Absolutely. I said it in that other video, which maybe you haven't seen, but this is a community thing and it has to be a community thing. I'm not going to know what's going on in a boot sale in Scotland or a charity shop in Aberystwyth. Can't even say the name of that place. So it will be community led. We will need people updating the info and the boot sale organizers and charity shop managers, etc. And this will all take time to build up that trust within the community and to build up user base and all of that stuff. But yes, and moderators. Yep, we will have trusted moderators who will have. I'm not in a moderator account here, but the main feed. So this button here, the feed one, which shows you the list view. Moderators will basically have another tab at the top where they will see submissions coming in. So changes of data, new charity shops, new boot sales. And then as best we can, because remember, I'm not in Scotland at a boot sale. I don't know if it is a genuine location, but most things are on the internet if you know the search terms, right? So we'll be able to corroborate, is that the word? And say, oh yeah, that's genuine. And at a click of a button, a moderator can make it go live. That's essentially how that works. Why is it not scrolling? Let's see if I can touch on a few more questions. I'll probably wrap it up soon because I've been waffling for nearly an hour. Dragon's Den, here we come. Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine me on that? I would imagine that's really quite an intimidating situation. Yeah. Hopefully we won't need any future investment. What else have we got here? Is the app for location only, or can we buy items they advertise on mobile? It's not a buying and selling platform. It is, if you want to really define what it is we're trying to create, it is a place to create and share locations where secondhand goods are being bought and sold. That is the objective, and to be a source of information, which is notoriously inaccurate currently on the internet. We don't know what it would evolve into, but currently that is the objective. And we thought that was a relatively easy objective. But oh no. How is the app protecting our privacy? Very good question. And we have spent way too long. We are led by Google and Apple. We have to have data protection policies in place, privacy policies, all of this stuff, and that has to be watertight. So yes, our hand is already. We have to have all that in place to be accepted onto Google Play Store and the App Store. So yes, it will be protected. And we have gone to great lengths to take as minimal information as we can. So on sign up, it's virtually no information. We would only ever need an address if you choose to have a yard sale, because without the pin location, which obviously shows where you live, because if you want to sell stuff on your doorstep, you want people to know where you live. So that's the only point that information will be gathered when you pin your location. But it will all be protected by the privacy policy, etc. Again, talk about learning curves. That side of it, the amount of pages and pages of legal stuff we've had to create. The terms and conditions that we all just whiz through and click I agree. Yeah, those. What's Pete saying there? Good luck with it all, Nick. Thank you. I appreciate that. What a great idea. Will be very helpful to a lot of people. Love the community thing as well. I hope so. And if we can achieve something that is used and is helpful, then that is success. If you want to know what success looks like to me with this, it's it being used and helpful. Talking about money for the app, since you have a dedicated YouTube, could you not use the join feature or a Patreon or website subscription to collect revenue for it, such as sending? I have no intention of doing that. There was talk, and it may be the route we take yet. I don't know what this looks like in the future, but there may be an option where once a month, a little thing pops up and says, the app is free, but if you feel you have gained, if you feel the app's been useful to you, please make a donation. We could go that route. So it's up to the user how much they pay, and that could be zero. I don't know what that looks like. It's one of the many options of where we go with this, but honestly, that is not a consideration yet. My goal is to get it launched. I was hoping to be launched like 8 months ago or something. And we worry about making it pay for itself sometime down the line. Is it up and running, or is this a sneak peek? Kind of both. Here it is working. All of this data is on the database. I can create, as you saw, I was favoriting things and they were appearing in my favorites. I could create or edit a charity shop now. This is all operating and it's all running off the servers. All the data is real time. So yes, it's kind of a sneak peek. And is it running? Yes. Are we ready to launch? No, because we have a lot of things to sort out in the kind of management side of the app, but we are so close now, and most of the problems we were trying to solve, we have solved. If you're an event organizer, it could be useful to send a prompt or approve when someone requests to add their stall to your event. Then organizer can collect payment. Yeah, that may be a way to incorporate the charity events. If you had an approve or not. So if somebody in the real world says, I want to have a stall, here's my $5, whatever it is. And then when they add this, and you say, oh, so you're number 10 High Street. Okay, cool. Go and add yourself to the event. And then you would approve them when they add their stall. That's a possibility. I don't know. Again, there's a lot to think about. Question, can you submit new info now? If so, how? No, because it's not live. You can't download this from anywhere yet. But once we go live, you can add locations. If you go on the app and you find that stuff you know exists isn't on there, by all means add it. Can I ask if secondhand bookshop can be loaded onto the app? Currently, no, but in the future, the idea is yes. But for launch, it's going to be what I showed you, charity shops. The email is the email and password. It's pretty much it when you sign up. We have to have a unique thing, and that's the email. And of course, should you forget your login details or whatever, we also have to have a point of contact. So that's kind of standard with an app where you have an account, is the email is collected because that's your point of contact. So you can then go, oh, yeah, I forgot my login details, and we fire off, replacement details to your email. Yeah. I did consider crowdfunding. We worked it out a different way in the end. But yeah, I very much thought about crowdfunding. This may have been stressful and cost to yourselves, but I think it is a truly useful tool and will be widely used in the reseller world. Take my hat off to all involved. Well, thank you. And I really hope so. I can give you an insight into our solution to the expense of developing this, is that my business partner, we set up a company. So this Thrift Map is a limited company. And my business partner is a director in that. So he has taken an asset. You know how they do it on Dragon's Den. So a lot of the cost that would have been incurred with getting somebody with his level of expertise on board, or if we were paying them, there's been a payoff there, if you see what I mean. There's obviously been expense on top of that, but that was the kind of compromise we ended up to get to where we are. Richard, a donation pop-up is a good idea, sort of like a super chat on YouTube if people have found it helpful. Yes, and that has been talked about. I like that idea. I don't know how. I've seen it a lot on Wikipedia. Have you seen it on Wikipedia? Where 98% of people never pay a penny, but they're asking for £2 if you find Wikipedia useful. I'm like, yes, please. Here's your £2, right? To fund an incredibly useful website. It's nothing, is it? But I don't know. Right, I think I'm at the bottom. Oh, Pete's in. Hello, Pete. Be good to see places on this app that I may have missed, charity shops, car boots, etc. Yeah, exactly. And when you're somewhere else, when you're not in your local area, as I said on the other video, when we were away in Cornwall, this would have been so handy. Yeah, that it's going to be so useful for that. You know, you go to the coast for the day and you think, I wonder if there's a boot sale on. Open the app and it will show you immediately. Would I be able to update places on the app, i.e. charity shops opening times? Yes. Yeah, I don't know if you've just arrived, Pete, but yeah, you can watch this back. When you find a charity pin and you open it, there is a button to edit this information. And very simply, you just fill out a form, change the information you want to change, submit it, and that will be done. That's your work done. You can also add a location if it's not on there. I suppose in future, nearest cash point would be a good one. Wow. You see, this is what we were like when we started developing this. We thought of, oh, I tell you what would be useful is public toilets. Pin them. Yeah, oh, we'll add that. And this and that. And before long, our to-do list was growing at a quicker pace than we were ticking things off that we'd done. So I agree. But all in good time. Let's get the basic. And this is how I should have been at the beginning. This is the biggest lesson I've learned. And if anyone's thinking of taking on a project like this, really scale down your idea rather than up at the beginning and make this work really well, and then add that, and then add that, and launch when it's dinky and working well and just doing this. And then tell everyone coming soon is this, and then coming soon is boot sales, coming soon is charity shops. We'd have been launched probably within 5 or 6 months then. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap up shortly because I'm flagging. Once loved treasures, welcome. Looking forward to the launch. While we don't often have boot sales and events near here, it will be good to search for areas where it might be worth traveling to, whether it's for events or shops. Absolutely. Yes. And that's a big part of why we're doing it. The initial thought came from people constantly asking us, how do you find these events? How are you going to these events every weekend, Nick? Yeah. Okay. I was away the other week. It would have been so interesting to see what was in the area. Yeah. And we had exactly the same thoughts when we were down in Cornwall. The fact that when you open it, it opens with your current location. So I'm the blue dot and I can see exactly what's around me here. And it would be the same if I opened it. Let's scroll down to Cornwall somewhere. So where is that? Plymouth. So if I opened it at Plymouth, I just change it to the satellite view. I would instantly know where all the charities, shops and boot sales are. So yeah, that was the dream, and it still excites me to see it working. Yeah, there's been moments with this where getting to this point never seemed possible. I am excited to launch it and let people play about with it, but I am also not wanting to launch it when it's a little bit broken, and it's still a little bit broken. So that's where we're at. And I know there will be issues, and I want to set expectations a little bit. There'll be issues with the data being accurate. The pins will be slightly in the wrong places in some instance because we've had to use Google to locate the pins. I won't get into details. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to get people crawling all over it and seeing what they think. Let's take a couple more and I will wrap up. That's the term that it may have been you that put it on the other video, feature creep. It's so true because you think adding features, this is going to be amazing. Add that in. Oh, somebody just told me what they'd like is a widget to do that. Add that in. It's totally the wrong approach. And if I create something else in the future, I will start with, minimum kind of case scenario of what we want to create, make that work flawlessly, and then start adding things in. That's the way to go. Ah, there you go. The toilets thing's been done. Okay, what else have we got? Will it have an option so I can track Peter Ray's adventures so I can see if he's at the same boot sale as me? I doubt we'll add that feature. I can't see that being popular. I can see people saying thrift it just as we say Google it. Wow, I can't imagine a time when people are saying that, but it would be nice. Wow, who's put all that data in? Myself and a group of friends that I am indebted to. That's who. Some of who you probably all know. Okay, I'm going to pick one more comment or question and then I'm going to wrap up. Right, let's just click there. Appreciate the stream. Thank you. Always good to see you. Best of luck with this, Nick. If anyone can make this work, it is you guys. I'll end on a positive note. I like to try and do that. I hope that was helpful. I was getting to a point with it where it felt like I've been talking about this mythical thing that I was creating. It felt like I was making it all up, because I never had anything concrete to show. But here it is. Let's switch charities off just for fun. Hey, there's the boot sales that are left. Zoom out a bit. Switch the charities back on. There's Cornwall for you. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. We'll do this again soon. There is a Facebook group which should be linked below along with the other social medias. If you only use one, make it the Facebook group. You can come on there. If you still have questions about this, you can post questions in that group and we will try and answer them as and when. Once we launch, I hope that will be the place people go to let me know what's broken, what doesn't work, what does work, etc. So thank you very much. I hope you're as excited about it as I am. Thank you for sticking with me. I've still got nearly 100 people watching, so drop us a like. That would be cool. Yeah, go and join the Facebook group and I will see you over there. Please ask any questions. There was no such thing as a stupid question. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.